Well, we just want to have a conversation with three people about the beginning of Movement Day. Francois mentioned that we're going to have a couple of different messages, and the first part of the message is information. How did we get here? What is this all about? And so these brothers, very esteemed brothers, I want to ask them a couple of questions and let them respond so that you can get a flavor of about Movement Day. And so let me just start with Mac. Let me start with you, and Bob. Let me start with you. Share with us how we got to Movement Day Greater Dallas. Let's just start there.
My wife Mari and I moved to New York City in 1984. In 1984, New York City was broke, it was violent, and it was largely unchurched. In the late 80s, we began to bring churches together to pray together about the great needs of New York. Tim Keller arrived in New York and began Redeemer Presbyterian Church in 1989. The two factors that came together were praying churches and new churches that were getting started. 6 years ago, we did some research to ask the question, what kind of progress were we seeing? And we were really surprised that over a 20-year period, the percentage of Christians grew in the island of Manhattan by 300%. And when we saw that data, we realized that if God was doing something in New York, he must be doing something in other cities around the country. So we decided to have our first Movement Day in 2010, thinking it would be 70% New York, 30% non-New York. In the first year, people arrived from 34 states and 14 countries. There, go ahead. Bob, you're up.
So I'm a newbie. I've only been involved for about 5 years now, meeting Tim Keller and Mac Pier and understanding what they had been up to. Mac didn't say it, but decades of prayer. This wasn't a day or two. A long-term prayer support service for New York City to prepare the way, to prepare hearts to be able to respond. When I was told that the Christian population had tripled, it was from 1% to 3%. I'm a business guy, and I imagine sitting in a room where there are 100 people in a meeting, and if it's 1%, I'm the only guy who knows the Lord. And so I got kind of excited that if there were going to be 100 people in the room, it was now 3 people. There were 2 others in the crowd that had the same worldview that I did. That was encouraging. But the challenge that Tim and Mac put before themselves and asked me to join was, can we make this a tipping point? Can we get this to 10%? So that now if I'm in a conference room and there are only 10 of us, yes, 1, but that room of 100, there are 10 people. So the opportunity to bring the church, the parachurch organization, and marketplace guys and gals together to reach the city, in this case New York City, for the Lord, was just an incredible opportunity and has been a masterful journey of watching all the good things that Mac just talked about happen.
So let me pose this question to all of you, and let me first also say that Ray Nixon was supposed to be on this panel. Ray is sick. Pray for Ray. But we have Jim who's stepping in, so he is very, very capable. Jim's going to step in Ray's place.
Pray for me too, please.
And you've heard Jim talk about, the global impact that's going on of Movement Day globally. Dallas plays a role in that, so let me just ask all of you very quickly, what do you see as the global significance to Greater Dallas as it relates to Movement Day?
All right. Well, thank you, John, and do pray for Ray. Ray and Denise are terrific friends, and he would be here if he possibly could be here. Without infecting all of us, he would be here today, and he's just remarkable. When you think about the city of Dallas on a global stage, there are just some really remarkable facts to bear in mind. One of them is that we in Dallas, this is going to sound like bragging, but just to give you a sense of why God might want to use Dallas, why Movement Day from New York might come next to Dallas. We're thinking of other cities. In fact, there's a movement afoot right now to have movement days in other cities across the country and literally around the world. You'll hear more about that today. It's a terrific thing. But why would God want to move to Dallas next? Well, we have the largest urban arts center in the world in the city of Dallas. We are quickly becoming one of the leading financial centers in the world. 21 of the top Forbes companies worldwide are in Dallas. The Toyota move is just one example of companies in corporate America coming to Dallas. We're one of the largest, most significant medical communities in the world. 6 Nobel laureates practice medicine in Dallas. We're a leading political center across the nation. The 2014 Mayor Summit, citywide, nationwide Mayor Summit was in Dallas. The new City Summit will be in Dallas this year. We're a global transportation hub. 56 flights, global flights, originate every day from DFW and Love Field. God could do something in Dallas that could be a replicatable significance in other cities, we believe. We believe the influencers in the city, working together to the glory of God, could be a catalyst for movement outside Dallas as well.
Let me add to that list. I've got my 10. Now, I'm not from Dallas. I did marry a girl who grew up here, so I'm very fond of this city.
Yes.
And I did a little research. Dallas is important because Cowboy Stadium is big enough to hold the Statue of Liberty. Did you know that? The birthplace of the microchip. The birthplace of 7-Eleven, the largest convenient company in the world, called Totem Stores in the early days. Did you know that? You're not that old. The home of Bonnie and Clyde.
We're very proud.
Did you know there are more shopping centers in Dallas per capita than any other city in the world?
I knew that. I knew that.
On a more serious note, 3rd most popular business destination for meetings. DFW, the 4th busiest airport in the U.S. Dallas population in 1860, that's as far back I could find, 698 people. 1900, 42,000, 2000, 1.2 million, you know what goes from there. But here's the one that penetrates my heart. Every city is an extreme in some way, but it's been measured that Dallas, from a wealth standpoint, has one of the highest concentrations of wealthy and highest concentration of poor. What a strategic opportunity.
So Mac, let me end with this question to you. When you think about the Christian leader in Dallas today, the person that's leading a ministry or leading a nonprofit or leading a church, us, you think about us, what's the significance of the role of that person in a gospel movement?
One of the things we've learned in New York is that for the gospel to flourish in a city, the gospel flourishes to the degree that there is a depth of relationship between diverse members of the body of Christ. Dallas has, in my opinion, the greatest concentration of marketplace Christian talent of any city in the world, of what I've seen traveling around the world. Dallas has some of the greatest churches in the world right here. And Dallas has thousands of really significant nonprofits. And the potential here is as leaders come together to collaborate in greater depth, and I really appreciate what was shared earlier, that it's all about the depth of relationship between these diverse agencies that will produce the kind of change that is so urgently and desperately needed. God always raises up leaders when he's ready to do a new thing, and this room really is a testament to what God is prepared to do in the great region of Greater Dallas.
So all of us have a responsibility. Tina's going to kill me if I don't go down, so I'm going to stop now. But let me just say that you're hearing from the minds of some of the greatest thinkers. Mac Pier, the founder of Movement Day. I turn on MSNBC and see Bob giving advice about Wall Street and investment strategies all the time. He's a baller. And Jim Denison, one of the greatest theological thinkers of our time today. You've heard from them about Movement Day. They're all in. You ought to be all in. Thank you, gentlemen, so much.